Computer protection, countermeasures. In computer security, a countermeasure is an action, device, procedure, or technique that reduces a threat, a vulnerability, or an attack by eliminating or preventing it, by minimizing the harm it can cause, or by discovering and reporting it so that corrective action can be taken. Some common countermeasures are listed in the following sections. Security by design, or alternately secure by design, means that the software has been designed from the ground up to be secure. In this case, security is considered a main feature. The UK government's National Cyber Security Centre separates secure cyber design principles into 5 sections. 1. Before a secure system is created or updated, companies should ensure they understand the fundamentals and the context around the system they are trying to create and identify any weaknesses in the system. 2. Companies should design and center their security around techniques and defenses which make attacking their data or systems inherently more challenging for attackers. 3. Companies should ensure that their core services that rely on technology are protected so that the systems are essentially never down. 4. Although systems can be created which are safe against a multitude of attacks, that does not mean that attacks will not be attempted. Despite one's security, all companies' systems should aim to be able to detect and spot attacks as soon as they occur to ensure the most effective response to them. 5. Companies should create secure systems designed so that any attack that is successful has minimal severity. These design principles of security by design can include some of the following techniques. The principle of least privilege, where each part of the system has only the privileges that are needed for its function. That way, even if an attacker gains access to that part, they only have limited access to the whole system. Automated theorem proving to prove the correctness of crucial software subsystems. Code reviews and unit testing, approaches to make modules more secure where formal correctness proofs are not possible. Defense in depth, where the design is such that more than one subsystem needs to be violated to compromise the integrity of the system and the information it holds. Default secure settings, and designed to fail secure rather than fail insecure, see fail-safe for the equivalent in safety engineering. Ideally, a secure system should require a deliberate, conscious, knowledgeable, and free decision on the part of legitimate authorities in order to make it insecure. Audit trails track system activity so that when a security breach occurs, the mechanism and extent of the breach can be determined. Storing audit trails remotely, where they can only be appended to, can keep intruders from covering their tracks. Full disclosure of all vulnerabilities, to ensure that the window of vulnerability is kept as short as possible when bugs are discovered. Security architecture can be defined as the practice of designing computer systems to achieve security goals. These goals have overlap with the principles of security by design explored above, including to make initial compromise of the system difficult, and to limit the impact of any compromise. In practice, the role of a security architect would be to ensure the structure of a system reinforces the security of the system, and that new changes are safe and meet the security requirements of the organization. Similarly, Wikipedia defines security architecture as a unified security design that addresses the necessities and potential risks involved in a certain scenario or environment. It also specifies when and where to apply security controls. The design process is generally reproducible. The key attributes of security architecture are the relationship of different components and how they depend on each other. Determination of controls based on risk assessment, good practices, finances, and legal matters. The standardization of controls. Practicing security architecture provides the right foundation to systematically address business, IT and security concerns in an organization. A state of computer security is the conceptual ideal, attained by the use of 3 processes: threat prevention, detection, and response. These processes are based on various policies and system components, which include the following. Limiting the access of individuals using user account access controls and using cryptography can protect systems files and data, respectively. Firewalls are by far the most common prevention systems from a network security perspective as they can, if properly configured, shield access to internal network services and block certain kinds of attacks through packet filtering. Firewalls can be both hardware and software based. Firewalls monitor and control incoming and outgoing traffic of a computer network and establish a barrier between a trusted network and an untrusted network. Intrusion Detection System, IDS, products are designed to detect network attacks in progress and assist in post-attack forensics, while audit trails and logs serve a similar function for individual systems. Response is necessarily defined by the assessed security requirements of an individual system and may cover the range from simple upgrade of protections to notification of legal authorities, counterattacks, and the like. In some special cases, the complete destruction of the compromised system is favored, as it may happen that not all the compromised resources are detected. Cybersecurity awareness training to cope with cyber threats and attacks. Forward web proxy solutions can prevent the client to visit malicious web pages and inspect the content before downloading to the client machines. Today, computer security consists mainly of preventive measures like firewalls or an exit procedure. A firewall can be defined as a way of filtering network data between a host or a network and another network, such as the Internet. They can be implemented as software running on the machine, hooking into the network stack, or, in the case of most Unix-based operating systems such as Linux, built into the operating system kernel, to provide real-time filtering and blocking. Another implementation is a so-called physical firewall, which consists of a separate machine filtering network traffic. Firewalls are common amongst machines that are permanently connected to the Internet. Some organizations are turning to big data platforms, such as Apache Hadoop, to extend data accessibility and machine learning to detect advanced persistent threats. In order to ensure adequate security, the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of a network, better known as the CIA triad, must be protected and is considered the foundation to information security. To achieve those objectives, administrative, physical and technical security measures should be employed. The amount of security afforded to an asset can only be determined when its value is known. Vulnerability management is the cycle of identifying, fixing, or mitigating vulnerabilities, especially in software and firmware. Vulnerability management is integral to computer security and network security. Vulnerabilities can be discovered with a vulnerability scanner, which analyzes a computer system in search of known vulnerabilities, such as open ports, insecure software configuration, and susceptibility to malware. In order for these tools to be effective, they must be kept up to date with every new update the vendor release. Typically, these updates will scan for the new vulnerabilities that were introduced recently. Beyond vulnerability scanning, many organizations contract outside security auditors to run regular penetration tests against their systems to identify vulnerabilities. In some sectors, this is a contractual requirement. The act of assessing and reducing vulnerabilities to cyber attacks is commonly referred to as information technology security assessments. They aim to assess systems for risk and to predict and test for their vulnerabilities. While formal verification of the correctness of computer systems is possible, it is not yet common. Operating systems formally verified include Cell4 and Cisco's Pike OS, but these make up a very small percentage of the market. It is possible to reduce an attacker's chances by keeping systems up to date with security patches and updates and/or hiring people with expertise in security. Large companies with significant threats can hire Security Operations Center, SOC, analysts. These are specialists in cyber defenses, with their role ranging from conducting threat analysis to investigating reports of any new issues and preparing and testing disaster recovery plans. Whilst no measures can completely guarantee the prevention of an attack, these measures can help mitigate the damage of possible attacks. The effects of data loss/damage can be also reduced by careful backing up and insurance. Outside of formal assessments, there are various methods of reducing vulnerabilities. Two-factor authentication is a method for mitigating unauthorized access to a system or sensitive information. It requires something you know, a password or PIN, and something you have, a card, dongle, cell phone, or another piece of hardware. This increases security as an unauthorized person needs both of these to gain access. Protecting against social engineering and direct computer access, physical attacks can only happen by non-computer means, which can be difficult to enforce, relative to the sensitivity of the information. Training is often involved to help mitigate this risk by improving people's knowledge of how to protect themselves and by increasing people's awareness of threats. However, even in highly disciplined environments, e.g. military organizations, social engineering attacks can still be difficult to foresee and prevent. Inoculation, derived from inoculation theory, seeks to prevent social engineering and other fraudulent tricks and traps by instilling a resistance to persuasion attempts through exposure to similar or related attempts. Hardware-based or assisted computer security also offers an alternative to software-only computer security. Using devices and methods such as dongles, trusted platform modules, intrusion-aware cases, drive locks, disabling USB ports, and mobile-enabled access may be considered more secure due to the physical access, or sophisticated backdoor access, required in order to be compromised. Each of these is covered in more detail below. USB dongles are typically used in software licensing schemes to unlock software capabilities, but they can also be seen as a way to prevent unauthorized access to a computer or other device's software. The dongle, or key, essentially creates a secure encrypted tunnel between the software application and the key. The principle is that an encryption scheme on the dongle, such as Advanced Encryption Standard, AES, provides a stronger measure of security since it is harder to hack and replicate the dongle than to simply copy the native software to another machine and use it. Another security application for dongles is to use them for accessing web-based content such as cloud software or virtual private networks, VPNs. In addition, a USB dongle can be configured to lock or unlock a computer. Trusted Platform Modules, TPMs, secure devices by integrating cryptographic capabilities onto access devices, through the use of microprocessors, or so-called computers on a chip. TPMs used in conjunction with server-side software offer a way to detect and authenticate hardware devices, preventing unauthorized network and data access. Computer case intrusion detection refers to a device, typically a push-button switch, which detects when a computer case is opened. The firmware or BIOS is programmed to show an alert to the operator when the computer is booted up the next time. Drive locks are essentially software tools to encrypt hard drives, making them inaccessible to thieves. Tools exist specifically for encrypting external drives as well. Disabling USB ports is a security option for preventing unauthorized and malicious access to an otherwise secure computer. Infected USB dongles connected to a network from a computer inside the firewall are considered by the magazine Network World as the most common hardware threat facing computer networks. Disconnecting or disabling peripheral devices, like camera, GPS, removable storage, etc., that are not in use. Mobile-enabled access devices are growing in popularity due to the ubiquitous nature of cell phones. Built-in capabilities such as Bluetooth, the newer Bluetooth Low Energy, LE, Near-Field Communication, NFC, on non-iOS devices and biometric validation such as thumbprint readers, as well as QR code reader software designed for mobile devices, offer new, secure ways for mobile phones to connect to access control systems. These control systems provide computer security and can also be used for controlling access to secure buildings. IOMMUs allow for hardware-based sandboxing of components in mobile and desktop computers by utilizing direct memory access protections. Physical unclonable functions, PUFs, can be used as a digital fingerprint or a unique identifier to integrated circuits and hardware, providing users the ability to secure the hardware supply chains going into their systems. One use of the term computer security refers to technology that is used to implement secure operating systems. Using secure operating systems is a good way of ensuring computer security. These are systems that have achieved certification from an external security auditing organization, The most popular evaluations are Common Criteria, CC. In software engineering, secure coding aims to guard against the accidental introduction of security vulnerabilities. It is also possible to create software designed from the ground up to be secure. Such systems are secure by design. Beyond this, formal verification aims to prove the correctness of the algorithms underlying a system, important for cryptographic protocols for example. Within computer systems, two of the main security models capable of enforcing privilege separation are access control lists, ACLS, and role-based access control, RBAC. An access control list, ACL, with respect to a computer file system, is a list of permissions associated with an object. An ACL specifies which users or system processes are granted access to objects, as well as what operations are allowed on given objects. Role-based access control is an approach to restricting system access to authorized users, used by the majority of enterprises with more than 500 employees, and can implement mandatory access control, MAC, or discretionary access control, DAC. A further approach, capability-based security, has been mostly restricted to research operating systems. Capabilities can, however, also be implemented at the language level, leading to a style of programming that is essentially a refinement of standard object-oriented design. An open-source project in the area is the E language. The end user is widely recognized as the weakest link in the security chain, and it is estimated that more than 90% of security incidents and breaches involve some kind of human error. Among the most commonly recorded forms of errors and misjudgment are poor password management, sending emails containing sensitive data and attachments to the wrong recipient, the inability to recognize misleading URLs and to identify fake websites and dangerous email attachments. A common mistake that users make is saving their user ID/password in their browsers to make it easier to log into banking sites. This is a gift to attackers who have obtained access to a machine by some means. The risk may be mitigated by the use of two-factor authentication. As the human component of cyber risk is particularly relevant in determining the global cyber risk an organization is facing, security awareness training, at all levels, not only provides formal compliance with regulatory and industry mandates but is considered essential in reducing cyber risk and protecting individuals and companies from the great majority of cyber threats. The focus on the end user represents a profound cultural change for many security practitioners, who have traditionally approached cybersecurity exclusively from a technical perspective, and moves along the lines suggested by major security centers to develop a culture of cyber awareness within the organization, recognizing that a security-aware user provides an important line of defense against cyber attacks. Related to end-user training, digital hygiene or cyber hygiene is a fundamental principle relating to information security and, as the analogy with personal hygiene shows, is the equivalent of establishing simple routine measures to minimize the risks from cyber threats. The assumption is that good cyber hygiene practices can give networked users another layer of protection, reducing the risk that one vulnerable node will be used to either mount attacks or compromise another node or network, especially from common cyber attacks. Cyber hygiene should also not be mistaken for proactive cyber defense, a military term. The most common acts of digital hygiene can include updating malware protection, cloud backups, passwords, and ensuring restricted admin rights and network firewalls. As opposed to a purely technology-based defense against threats, cyber hygiene mostly regards routine measures that are technically simple to implement and mostly dependent on discipline or education. It can be thought of as an abstract list of tips or measures that have been demonstrated as having a positive effect on personal and/or collective digital security. As such, these measures can be performed by laypeople, not just security experts. Cyber hygiene relates to personal hygiene as computer viruses relate to biological viruses, or pathogens. However, while the term computer virus was coined almost simultaneously with the creation of the first working computer viruses, the term cyber hygiene is a much later invention, perhaps as late as 2000 by Internet pioneer Vint Cerf. It has since been adopted by the Congress and Senate of the United States, the FBI, EU institutions, and heads of state. Responding to attempted security breaches is often very difficult for a variety of reasons, including identifying attackers is difficult, as they may operate through proxies, temporary anonymous dial-up accounts, wireless connections, and other anonymizing procedures which make backtracing difficult, and are often located in another jurisdiction. If they successfully breach security, they have also often gained enough administrative access to enable them to delete logs to cover their tracks. The sheer number of attempted attacks, often by automated vulnerability scanners and computer worms, is so large that organizations cannot spend time pursuing each. Law enforcement officers often lack the skills, interest, or budget to pursue attackers. Furthermore, identifying attackers across a network may necessitate collecting logs from multiple locations within the network and across various countries, a process that can be both difficult and time-consuming. Where an attack succeeds and a breach occurs, many jurisdictions now have in place mandatory security breach notification laws. The growth in the number of computer systems and the increasing reliance upon them by individuals, businesses, industries, and governments means that there are an increasing number of systems at risk. The computer systems of financial regulators and financial institutions like the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SWIFT, investment banks, and commercial banks are prominent hacking targets for cybercriminals interested in manipulating markets and making illicit gains. Websites and apps that accept or store credit card numbers, brokerage accounts, and bank account information are also prominent hacking targets, because of the potential for immediate financial gain from transferring money, making purchases, or selling the information on the black market. In-store payment systems and ATMs have also been tampered with in order to gather customer account data and PINs. The UCLA Internet Report, Surveying the Digital Future, 2000, found that the privacy of personal data created barriers to online sales and that more than 9 out of 10 Internet users were somewhat or very concerned about credit card security. The most common web technologies for improving security between browsers and websites are named SSL, Secure Sockets Layer, and its successor TLS, Transport Layer Security, Identity Management and Authentication Services, and domain name services allow companies and consumers to engage in secure communications and commerce. Several versions of SSL and TLS are commonly used today in applications such as web browsing, email, internet faxing, instant messaging, and VoIP, voice over IP. There are various interoperable implementations of these technologies, including at least one implementation that is open source. Open source allows anyone to view the application's source code, and look for and report vulnerabilities. The credit card companies Visa and MasterCard cooperated to develop the secure EMV chip which is embedded in credit cards. Further developments include the chip authentication program where banks give customers handheld card readers to perform online secure transactions. Other developments in this arena include the development of technology such as instant issuance which has enabled shopping mall kiosks acting on behalf of banks to issue on-the-spot credit cards to interested customers. Computers control functions at many utilities, including coordination of telecommunications, the power grid, nuclear power plants, and valve opening and closing in water and gas networks. The Internet is a potential attack vector for such machines if connected, but the Stuxnet worm demonstrated that even equipment controlled by computers not connected to the Internet can be vulnerable. In 2014, the Computer Emergency Readiness Team, a division of the Department of Homeland Security, investigated 79 hacking incidents at energy companies. The aviation industry is very reliant on a series of complex systems which could be attacked. A simple power outage at one airport can cause repercussions worldwide. Much of the system relies on radio transmissions which could be disrupted, and controlling aircraft over oceans is especially dangerous because radar surveillance only extends 175 to 225 miles offshore. There is also potential for attack from within an aircraft. Implementing fixes in aerospace systems poses a unique challenge because efficient air transportation is heavily affected by weight and volume. Improving security by adding physical devices to airplanes could increase their unloaded weight, and could potentially reduce cargo or passenger capacity. In Europe, with the Pan-European Network Service, and new PENS, and in the US with the Next Gen program, air navigation service providers are moving to create their own dedicated networks. Many modern passports are now biometric passports, containing an embedded microchip that stores a digitized photograph and personal information such as name, gender, and date of birth. In addition, more countries are introducing facial recognition technology to reduce identity-related fraud. The introduction of the e-passport has assisted border officials in verifying the identity of the passport holder, thus allowing for quick passenger processing. Plans are underway in the US, the UK, and Australia to introduce smart gate kiosks with both retina and fingerprint recognition technology. The airline industry is moving from the use of traditional paper tickets towards the use of electronic tickets, e-tickets. These have been made possible by advances in online credit card transactions in partnership with the airlines. Long-distance bus companies are also switching over to e-ticketing transactions today. The consequences of a successful attack range from loss of confidentiality to loss of system integrity, air traffic control outages, loss of aircraft, and even loss of life. Desktop computers and laptops are commonly targeted to gather passwords or financial account information or to construct a botnet to attack another target. Smartphones, tablet computers, smartwatches, and other mobile devices such as quantified self-devices like activity trackers have sensors such as cameras, microphones, GPS receivers, compasses, and accelerometers which could be exploited, and may collect personal information, including sensitive health information. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and cell phone networks on any of these devices could be used as attack vectors, and sensors might be remotely activated after a successful breach. The increasing number of home automation devices such as the Nest thermostat are also potential targets. Today many healthcare providers and health insurance companies use the internet to provide enhanced products and services, for example through use of telehealth to potentially offer better quality and access to healthcare, or fitness trackers to lower insurance premiums. The healthcare company Humana partners with WebMD, Oracle Corporation, EDS, and Microsoft to enable its members to access their healthcare records, as well as to provide an overview of healthcare plans. Patient records are increasingly being placed on secure in-house networks, alleviating the need for extra storage space. Large corporations are common targets. In many cases attacks are aimed at financial gain through identity theft and involve data breaches. Examples include the loss of millions of clients' credit card and financial details by Home Depot, Staples, Target Corporation, and Equifax. Medical records have been targeted in general identity theft, health insurance fraud, and impersonating patients to obtain prescription drugs for recreational purposes or resale. Although cyber threats continue to increase, 62% of all organizations did not increase security training for their business in 2015. Not all attacks are financially motivated, however. Security firm HB Gary Federal had a serious series of attacks in 2011 from hacktivist group Anonymous in retaliation for the firm's CEO claiming to have infiltrated their group, and Sony Pictures was hacked in 2014 with the apparent dual motive of embarrassing the company through data leaks and crippling the company by wiping workstations and servers. Vehicles are increasingly computerized, with engine timing, cruise control, anti-lock brakes, seatbelt tensioners, door locks, airbags and advanced driver assistance systems on many models. Additionally, connected cars may use Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to communicate with onboard consumer devices and the cell phone network. Self-driving cars are expected to be even more complex. All of these systems carry some security risks, and such issues have gained wide attention. Simple examples of risk include a malicious compact disc being used as an attack vector, and the car's onboard microphones being used for eavesdropping. However, If access is gained to a car's internal controller area network, the danger is much greater, and in a widely publicized 2015 test, hackers remotely carjacked a vehicle from 10 miles away and drove it into a ditch. Manufacturers are reacting in numerous ways, with Tesla in 2016 pushing out some security fixes over the air into its car's computer systems. In the area of autonomous vehicles, in September 2016 the United States Department of Transportation announced some initial safety standards, and called for states to come up with uniform policies. Additionally, e-driver's licenses are being developed using the same technology. For example, Mexico's licensing authority, ICV, has used a smart card platform to issue the first e-driver's licenses to the city of Monterrey, in the state of Nuevo León. Shipping companies have adopted RFID, radio frequency identification, technology as an efficient, digitally secure, tracking device. Unlike a barcode, RFID can be read up to 20 feet away. RFID is used by FedEx and UPS. Government and military computer systems are commonly attacked by activists and foreign powers. Local and regional government infrastructure such as traffic light controls, police and intelligence agency communications, personnel records, as well as student records. The FBI, CIA, and Pentagon all utilize secure controlled access technology for any of their buildings. However, the use of this form of technology is spreading into the entrepreneurial world. More and more companies are taking advantage of the development of digitally secure controlled access technology. GE's ACU Vision, for example, offers a single-panel platform for access control, alarm monitoring, and digital recording. The Internet of Things, IoT, is the network of physical objects such as devices, vehicles, and buildings that are embedded with electronics, software, sensors, and network connectivity that enables them to collect and exchange data. Concerns have been raised that this is being developed without appropriate consideration of the security challenges involved. While the IoT creates opportunities for more direct integration of the physical world into computer-based systems, it also provides opportunities for misuse. In particular, as the Internet of Things spreads widely, cyber attacks are likely to become an increasingly physical, rather than simply virtual, threat. If a front door's lock is connected to the Internet, and can be locked/unlocked from a phone, then a criminal could enter the home at the press of a button from a stolen or hacked phone. People could stand to lose much more than their credit card numbers in a world controlled by IoT-enabled devices. Thieves have also used electronic means to circumvent non-internet connected hotel door locks. An attack aimed at physical infrastructure and/or human lives is often called a cyberkinetic attack. As IoT devices and appliances become more widespread, the prevalence and potential damage of cyberkinetic attacks can increase substantially. Medical devices have either been successfully attacked or had potentially deadly vulnerabilities demonstrated, including both in-hospital diagnostic equipment and implanted devices including pacemakers and insulin pumps. There are many reports of hospitals and hospital organizations getting hacked, including ransomware attacks, Windows XP exploits, viruses, and data breaches of sensitive data stored on hospital servers. On December 28, 2016, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration released its recommendations for how medical device manufacturers should maintain the security of Internet-connected devices, but no structure for enforcement. In distributed generation systems, the risk of a cyber attack is real, according to Daily Energy Insider. An attack could cause a loss of power in a large area for a long period of time, and such an attack could have just as severe consequences as a natural disaster. The District of Columbia is considering creating a distributed energy resources (DER) authority within the city, with the goal being for customers to have more insight into their own energy use and giving the local electric utility, PEPCO, the chance to better estimate energy demand. The DC proposal, however, would allow third-party vendors to create numerous points of energy distribution, which could potentially create more opportunities for cyber attackers to threaten the electric grid. Perhaps the most widely known digitally secure telecommunication device is the SIM, Subscriber Identity Module, card, a device that is embedded in most of the world's cellular devices before any service can be obtained. The SIM card is just the beginning of this digitally secure environment. The Smart Card Web Server's Draft Standard, SCWS, defines the interfaces to an HTTP server in a smart card. Tests are being conducted to secure OTA, over-the-air, payment and credit card information from and to a mobile phone. Combination SIM/DVD devices are being developed through smart video card technology, which embeds a DVD-compliant optical disc into the card body of a regular SIM card. Other telecommunication developments involving digital security include mobile signatures, which use the embedded SIM card to generate a legally binding electronic signature. Serious financial damage has been caused by security breaches, but because there is no standard model for estimating the cost of an incident, the only data available is that which is made public by the organizations involved. Several computer security consulting firms produce estimates of total worldwide losses attributable to virus and worm attacks and to hostile digital acts in general. The 2003 loss estimates by these firms range from $13 billion, worms and viruses only, to $226 billion, for all forms of covered attacks. The reliability of these estimates is often challenged. The underlying methodology is basically anecdotal. However, reasonable estimates of the financial cost of security breaches can actually help organizations make rational investment decisions. According to the classic Gordon-Loeb model analyzing the optimal investment level in information security, one can conclude that the amount a firm spends to protect information should generally be only a small fraction of the expected loss, i.e., the expected value of the loss resulting from a cyber/information security breach. As with physical security, the motivations for breaches of computer security vary between attackers. Some are thrill seekers or vandals, some are activists, others are criminals looking for financial gain. State-sponsored attackers are now common and well-resourced, but started with amateurs such as Marcus Hess, who hacked for the KGB, as recounted by Clifford Stahl in The Cuckoo's Egg. Attackers' motivations can vary for all types of attacks, from pleasure to political goals. For example, hacktivists may target a company or organization that carries out activities they do not agree with. This would be to create bad publicity for the company by having its website crash. High-capability hackers, often with larger backing or state sponsorship, may attack based on the demands of their financial backers. These attacks are more likely to attempt more serious attack. An example of a more serious attack was the 2015 Ukraine power grid hack, which reportedly utilized the spear phishing, destruction of files, and denial of service attacks to carry out the full attack. Additionally, recent attacker motivations can be traced back to extremist organizations seeking to gain political advantage or disrupt social agendas. The growth of the Internet, mobile technologies, and inexpensive computing devices have led to a rise in capabilities, but also to the risk to environments that are deemed as vital to operations. All critical targeted environments are susceptible to compromise, and this has led to a series of proactive studies on how to migrate the risk by taking into consideration motivations by these types of actors. Several stark differences exist between the hacker motivation and that of nation-state actors seeking to attack based on an ideological preference. A key aspect of threat modeling for any system is identifying the motivations behind potential attacks and the individuals or groups likely to carry them out. The level and detail of security measures will differ based on the specific system being protected. For instance, a home personal computer, a bank, and a classified military network each face distinct threats, despite using similar underlying technologies. Computer security incident management is an organized approach to addressing and managing the aftermath of a computer security incident or compromise with the goal of preventing a breach or thwarting a cyber attack. An incident that is not identified and managed at the time of intrusion typically escalates to a more damaging event such as a data breach or system failure. The intended outcome of a computer security incident response plan is to contain the incident, limit damage, and assist recovery to business as usual. Responding to compromises quickly can mitigate exploited vulnerabilities, restore services and processes, and minimize losses. Incident response planning allows an organization to establish a series of best practices to stop an intrusion before it causes damage. Typical incident response plans contain a set of written instructions that outline the organization's response to a cyber attack. Without a documented plan in place, an organization may not successfully detect an intrusion or compromise, and stakeholders may not understand their roles, processes and procedures during an escalation, slowing the organization's response and resolution. There are 4 key components of a computer security incident response plan. 1. Preparation, preparing stakeholders on the procedures for handling computer security incidents or compromises. 2. Detection and analysis, identifying and investigating suspicious activity to confirm a security incident, prioritizing the response based on impact and coordinating notification of the incident. 3. Containment, eradication, and recovery, isolating affected systems to prevent escalation and limit impact, pinpointing the genesis of the incident, removing malware, affected systems, and bad actors from the environment, and restoring systems and data when a threat no longer remains. 4. Post-incident activity, post-mortem analysis of the incident, its root cause and the organization's response with the intent of improving the incident response plan and future response efforts. Thank you for watching this video.